When she became a mom, it was a role that felt so natural. She was used to watching younger siblings, so she was used to taking care of kids. She wanted a big family. She wanted her house to feel different. She wanted her house to feel like a home, to be a safe place, to be a place where her kids had a voice, where there was joy. Motherhood doesn't just shape your kids. It reveals parts of you. Each stage of development, each child, and each challenge introduces you to new parts of yourself. Healing comes from acknowledging your unmet needs, allowing yourself to grieve the parts of yourself that were painful, the parts of your experience, the parts that you know happened, that they were there, even though other people might dismiss them. Hello and welcome to Mom's Way to Wellness. I am your host, Ida Maravillas. This is a space for moms who are in every season and in every feeling in motherhood, who are ready to turn pain into healing. Through authentic conversations about motherhood, parenting, and mental health through a lens of faith, you will find practical tools and encouragement to help you grow in every role you carry, building healthier relationships with yourself and with others. Let's dive into today's episode. Today's topic is rediscovering who you are beyond motherhood. We carry our stories, experiences, and the way we have viewed who we are into our motherhood experience. But what if becoming a mom has actually revealed the parts of you that feel disconnected? The hidden wounds that haven't fully healed, or the parts of you that you're discovering for the first time. This series is so important to me because motherhood reveals things to us. It exposes parts of us that sometimes show up in very unexpected ways. And so I want to share with you something that I've noticed, and I think this is relatable to a lot of moms that I work with. It's about the mom who grew up longing to be a mom one day, longing to be loved and to make sure her kids would always know just how much they were loved because it was something she felt missing when she grew up. She grew up in a family that had a lot going on. When there was conflict in the background at home, she learned to stay quiet, to avoid drawing attention to herself, because a few times when she tried to speak up, it didn't end well for her. But when things felt calm at home, she volunteered to help. She helped take care of younger siblings, helped with dinner, helped with cleaning, and anything else she was able to do. But no matter how hard she worked to help, she couldn't help but feel lonely, invisible, and like her worth was measured only in the things that she did. And not only in the things she did, but they only mattered if she did them well. When she became a mom, it was a role that felt so natural. She was used to watching younger siblings, so she was used to taking care of kids. She wanted a big family. She wanted her house to feel different. She wanted her house to feel like a home, to be a safe place, to be a place where her kids had a voice, where there was joy. She had become good at caring, managing, and anticipating the needs of others. And as her kids grew, she measured everything she did for them by her own childhood experience. She wanted her kids to feel loved, to be seen, and like they didn't have to work to earn her love. So she operated in ways that were familiar, in ways that created safety for her when she was growing up, and in ways that created patterns of control in her role as a mom. She anticipated potential unmet needs before they were even expressed. She had a hard time being able to sit still, to rest, and to feel like she could just be loved by her kids without having to work for it. And as she kept on taking care of everyone else's needs and placing herself aside, she realized that becoming a mom wasn't turning out in the way she had imagined. She thought that she'd feel relief. She thought that she would feel a sense of fulfillment. And at times she did. But when she didn't, it was a hard thing to recognize. It was a hard thing to say out loud because she was worried about what that meant for her as a mom, what that would look like. How can she confess something like that to other people? What would they think of her? How would she be able to continue to relate to other moms who just look like they had it together, who look like they had everything going for them? The moms who just seemed to have it come so easy with the well-behaved kids who did as they were told, and the clean house, and anything else that she saw on the surface level. The little girl inside of her kept showing up in ways that weren't healthy. She felt triggered when she was overwhelmed. She had big feelings that she had a hard time naming, and she started to realize she wasn't showing up as the mom she had hoped to be. Awareness of these underlying unmet needs is important because we need to recognize the parts of us that need to be named, tended to, and healed. Awareness is a starting point to rediscovering yourself or getting to know yourself for the first time. Because beyond the babies you've carried, beyond the hands you've held, and the way you juggle the needs of your kids, you are a human who is learning more about who you are and how that impacts the way you operate in every role you have. So today there are 3 key takeaways. And I'm going to go over them, and then I'm going to break them down a little bit more in detail. But first, I want you to know that motherhood doesn't shape your kids. It reveals parts of you. It's so connected. Motherhood doesn't just shape your kids. It reveals parts of you. Second, your kids are not the place where healing was meant to take place. Healing is something that happens within you, not outside of you. Third, discovering who you are is a lifelong process, not something defined by your roles. I know that some of these takeaways and some of the things I'm touching on are overlapping from other episodes in this series, but that's because they're so interconnected with each other. So I want to come back to the first takeaway. Motherhood doesn't just shape your kids. It reveals parts of you. Each stage of development, each child, and each challenge introduces you to new parts of yourself. But it also exposes parts of you that need to heal. This is seen in triggers and how we react to triggers, in strengths and in wounds. Those that we've kept secret, that we've had to be silent about, or even those that still, the response is just anger when they are spoken about. It's also seen in the capacity that we have to be able to manage all the things that we manage, the ability to keep it together. Awareness of these parts of you is where growth begins. The second takeaway, your kids are not the place where healing was meant to take place. Healing is something that happens within you. It's okay not to want to give your kids what you didn't have growing up, but it doesn't mean that you become healed by doing this external work. Healing comes from acknowledging your unmet needs, allowing yourself to grieve the parts of yourself that were painful, the parts of your experience, the parts that you know happened, that they were there, even though other people might dismiss them or overlook them or minimize them. They're parts of you that are still buried, and they come up to the surface when triggered. And so it's so important to allow yourself to grieve those parts. Healing, it can happen in an instant for some people, but I've witnessed it more as a process, especially depending on what those underlying issues are, especially depending on what those early life experiences have been and the parts of disconnection that we have felt within our family units and then even within ourselves. Relief can be felt in moments at the altar. A lot of times I see moms go to the altar for prayer. And this is if you have a faith-based practice in your everyday life and you go to church on Sundays. And a lot of times at that altar call, sometimes I see women go up, and I've been there too. And there are tears, and there's grief, and there's letting go, and there's emotion. And it feels like a safe place. And a lot of times there's some sort of relief that is felt there. And in that moment, we let go. We let go and we bring it, we as a living sacrifice bring it to the altar. But then when the altar call is over and the lights come up and the songs are done, we walk back into our everyday life, and we walk back in with the same memories, the same experiences, and the same tools in our toolbox to have to deal with the everyday Monday through Friday, Monday through Saturday, before we're back in a church service to feel like we can connect with our Maker. So relief can come in those moments. Healing can come in those moments at the altar. They could come in moments of solitude, moments when we are thinking about what it is that we've experienced. But a lot of times, if there's underlying trauma and pain, we're not comfortable in solitude. We're not comfortable in being alone. And that's where we develop these patterns of codependency and these patterns of feeling needed and these ways that we've coped with externally, wanting to look for being needed or feeling validated. Relief can happen in moments in community, especially if that community feels safe and we're able to share and be vulnerable with each other. But sometimes community like that is hard to find. Moments of relief can also happen with a trusted friend, within honest conversations, or sometimes it really happens in moments working with a therapist or a counselor. What matters is that healing is possible through such a variety of ways. Relief can be felt in these moments, but they're building blocks. They're opportunities to build on and to move forward in. And so it's so important to know that healing happens from something that takes place within you, inside of you. It's an acknowledgement. It's a way to be able to be aware of what's going on as a starting point. And when you experience healing and peace that comes with that, it changes the way that you parent. It changes the way that you function in each role that you serve in. It changes the way that you carry yourself into every room that you walk into. But it's not a one and done. It's a process. It's a journey. That's why this is life. This is life being challenged by all these different experiences. And being a mom, it just adds depth and dimension to who we are and to who we are becoming. And that goes into the third takeaway. Discovering who you are is a lifelong process. It's not something defined by your roles. You were created to grow. You were created to be aware of the gifts that you've been given and to grow and to sow and to reap and to harvest and to continue to become the person that you are authentically made to be. Every step towards growth tends to lay down the painful parts of your experience, parts of those little girl inside that couldn't be tended to. Those parts of you start to get a little smaller. You don't respond to them the way that you used to when you are healing. When you are not looking for your worth and your validation in a role or in a relationship, but you are seeing that you are worthy inside of you. Growth leads to feeling healed, to feeling more whole and okay in who you are, aside from your roles or what others need from you. And I want to say something about this in terms of the faith-based aspect. And it's important because when we are able to love ourselves from within, when we are able to recognize that in relationship with God, that He has given us His Son and that we have inherited a presence within us in the Holy Spirit. And if that is the promise that you are living in, then that healing comes from within you because God is living inside of you. And He is the only one that we have a relationship with that is not only external, it's not only in the things that He does for us on the outside, it's not only in the way that He meets our needs, but it's also in the way that He dwells within us and that He gives us the peace, even when we're in a hard season. He's the one who gives us strength when we feel weak. He is the one who shows us how we are loved. And then when we are feeling that love and we are healed, we are able to walk in such a different fullness with our kids. We don't give them that weight to carry, that weight that maybe we inherited. It wasn't only something that happened to us. It was something that wasn't tended to in the previous generations before us, but we're carrying it. We're carrying these beliefs and then we're passing them along, even if it's by modeling, even if it's in the energy that we carry within our daily interactions with our kids and with others. So I want to encourage you to discover who you are, because this is a lifelong process and it's changing every day. If you are rediscovering who you thought you were, or even if you're meeting yourself for the first time, it's never too late to be in tune to who you are and who you are becoming. Being a mom in the messy parts of healing doesn't set you back. It helps you see the parts of yourself that have been overshadowed by living a busy life. Being a mom is an opportunity to get to know yourself in a more profound way, because everything that you knew and brought into this role was there for a purpose so that you can serve in this role in a deep and meaningful way. It didn't get checked at the door of your birthing experience. You are still the parts of you that are strong, that have persevered, that have decided to do things differently. It's just that you are trying to figure out what the tools are to be able to carry out those desires. This series won't be the end of exploring who we are beyond the roles we carry, because we are growing into the woman we were created to become in each conversation that we have. And so I thank you so much for being here, for being present for this series. And I really encourage you to really reflect on the parts of you that still need tending to. I want to encourage you that there is healing and there is growth. And I am so happy that you are here because you were made with a purpose. Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you thought of someone who can use the encouragement that you received from this episode, please share it with them. If you would like to receive the monthly newsletter and insider information about the show, you can sign up to be part of the Mom's Way to Wellness community at idamaravillas.com.